To properly assess the London Has Fallen case, one must take into consideration the values of the situation: aesthetic, professional, and moral, logical, and socioculture are the top values that are considered. Aesthetically, the London Has Fallen case did not create harmony because it contributed to a growing social fear, such as the fear of terrorism and Islamophobia. Professionally, the London Has Fallen case is ethical. In light of recent global events and relevancy of terrorism, it was timely and did address novelty issues that our current society is facing. Morally, as far as telling the truth, humaneness, justice, fairness, freedom, and honesty, this case was not ethically moral, on the reasoning that 83% of registered voters believe that terrorist attacks are frequently occurring, when in fact they are not. London Has Fallen contributed to this irrational fear. Logically, the value looks at consistency, competency, and accuracy. Socioculturally, it was important to consider practicing restraint and sensitivity in the production of this movie. London Has Fallen did cater to the popular social fear of terrorism. However, it did bring the popular fear to light, which can aid in lifting a veil of ignorance. Second, we must look at principles. Kant, Plato, Aristotle, Mill, Rawle, and the agape principle are all at play in this case. I settled, ultimately, on the principle of finding a middle ground. However, Kant played into the idea that to act morally right, people must act according to duty. Plato played into the moral fact that people will naturally do what is good, provided they know what is right. Aristotle, on the other hand, said that nature does nothing in vain. Therefore, people will do well and are content in life if they go with what feels natural. Mill pushed utilitarianism. This principle states that those who are deliberating should choose the best good for the best amount. Rawle pushed the veil of ignorance. For example, he proposed a society in which 50% of the population is kept in slavery. To follow on entertaining the new society, there is a 50% likelihood that the participants would be also in slavery. Lastly, we have the agape principle. This principle states that we should love our neighbors as ourselves. Secondly, we must look into the loyalties of the case. The producers had a loyalty to their employer. London Has Fallen was directed by and written by the filming group Focus Features. They have a loyalty to cater to Focus Features and to turn a profit for Focus Features. Secondly, they have a duty to the public, but not as strong of a duty as they have to their employer, because Hollywood and Focus Features are not journalistic entities. Therefore, their main goal is to turn a profit, not to act in the right and good of the culture and people. In conclusion, I landed on an Aristotle point of view for this case after looking through the Potter box and going through the 4 quadrants. In my reasoning, I decided that this was the best choice because in life, one must be able to find a middle ground. Extremes harm the more, and the middle ground caters to the less. So one must be able to figure out what is fair and right, and what is a just reasoning between the two extremes. In this case, the makers of London Has Fallen could have done a more sufficient job of lessening the appeal to the terror fear. On the other hand, the critics could understand that their main objective was to turn a profit and that they are not a journalistic entity. Thank you for listening.